we are about to make some sourdough, and out of this batch that I'm about to make, you will make 2 loaves, okay? So we start off with a plastic box like that, pretty easy, little Tupperware box with a lid, and you put your scales on, and you put some water in, but don't let the water be really, really cold. Put a little bit of boiled water in it, but it mustn't be hot. It must be just room temperature or a bit cooler than room temperature. So you put it in 740 grams. So you need 740 grams. Right, that's 740 grams. Next, you've got the starter, which is made up of just plain flour, bread flour and water, okay, which you've mixed together for about at least 4 days, so it's all fermenting like that, so it's thick. And when you pour it on, you put 200 grams in, and it should all just float on the top of the water, and that means that it's all ready. So you put 740 of water, and now you need, oh, I've done a bit too much. So I've got 945, I actually need 940, don't I, with 200 grams. Just pick it out with your fingers, it's not important, because your hands presumably are all clean. Right, we've got 940 there, so you just turn your scales off, take it off the scales, and what I tend to do is I just use a knife or a fork and you mix it all together. You don't have to over mix it, but as long as it's got a bit of the starter mixed into the water, it doesn't have to all go, because you're about to put the flour in. So you then put your box with the water, 740 grams of water and 200 grams of starter, back on the scales, back to naught. Then you add about 120 grams of wholemeal flour. I've mixed the wholemeal on top of the white, okay? And the rest should be white. So it takes you up to 1,020. So that goes up to 1,020. Hopefully I've got enough here. So 976. So getting close, getting close. 922, just take a bit off the top, so it makes it 920, okay? And then you take that off the scales, and you begin, I tend to begin mixing it with my knife, just stirring it, and then you have to sort of incorporate, you'll have to get your fingers in there. Right, this is how it looks. So what you now do is you put the lid on it, and you leave it for 45 minutes. One bit of advice, you get lots of flour like this, it gets stuck down your sink. Try and have a bowl of water and just rinse your hands in the water so that the flour and water remain in one bowl, and at the end of the day, when you've finished your flour making, you then pour it all down the drain. But if you put it in like this, it'll all stick to your drains and inside your pipes. 45 minutes. After 45 minutes, you take the lid off, and your dough should look like that. So you haven't added anything other than starter, water and flour. Now you add the salt. And I put in rock salt. ground rock salt because I'm a bit sad. So I ground it freshly. So I put 22 grams of rock salt, which I've ground in a pestle and mortar. Then I weigh out 30 grams of water. Oops, I've done too much. 30 grams of water. Right, okay. Now what I tend to do is I tend to wet my hands because it's easier handling the dough. Wet hands, clean hands, and you've got the salt in there, and you're going to basically put the 30 grams of water on the top, just tap water, and you're basically mixing it, incorporating it on the top, mixing the salted water before you incorporate it into the dough. So you just pick it up, and I tend to turn the box. It's a real labour of love, this bread. And you keep going until all the salt and water is in the flour, and the dough's now becoming quite slippery.